Rahul Gandhi, he lives by the mantra of Mohabbat ki dukaan. So one would really hope that it would infuse Indian politics with a lot of positivity. But should this goodwill be extended to alleged rioters? You've heard me right. Should this Mohabbat ki dukaan and this Mohabbat be towards the violent mobs who attack police officers? Should it extend to those who have tried to destroy the secular fabric of our country and endanger national security? We ask you this today because the Congress party in Karnataka has now decided to drop 43 cases, and one of them is the 2022 Hubballi Riot case, where you have an irate mob led by the AIMIM leader who had laid siege at the old Hubballi police station. They pelted stones at the police. They damaged government vehicles. They also attacked nearby structures, sparking off communal tension. The AIMIM leader, Mohammad Arif, and others who are accused of orchestrating this large mob. But now these charges, which range from attempt to murder, rioting, to arson, to provoking, every other charge now has been dropped. The Karnataka government's decision is coming despite the state's law and police department being opposed to the move. They said, do not do this. The BJP now has lashed out at the alleged appeasement by the Congress, calling this the new quote-unquote Muslim League, which is actively shielding rioters at the cost of security. First up, watch these scathing attacks.
They are supporting Islamic fundamental activity.
Congress always stands for divisive politics, appeasement politics, vote bank politics.
Clean sheet and has withdrawn cases against MIM leaders just because DK Shivkumarji wants that. Congress is now becoming a new Muslim League party.
And the Congress has also, remember, spoken about this, and they've cited that this withdrawal of cases is the prerogative of the cabinet. They also point out that certain cases against BJP leaders too have been junked. Watch what they have to say about this.
See, ಕೋರ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಕೆಲವು ಮೊಕದ್ದಮೆಗಳನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ರೆಟರಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೋಮ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಸೆಕ್ರೆಟರಿ ಅವರವ್ರ ವಿವೇಚನೆಯಿಂದ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ ಅದನ್ನು ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅದನ್ನು. ಬೇಕಾದಷ್ಟು ಬಿಜೆಪಿ ಲೀಡರ್ಗಳ ಮೇಲಿರೋ ಕೇಸು ವಾಪಸ್ ತೆಗೆದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಬೇಕಾದಷ್ಟು ನಾಯಕರುಗಳ ಮೇಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಕೇಸ್ ತೆಗೆದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದ ವಿಚಾರ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೋಮ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ.
So this, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to our legitimate question we are asking tonight. Mohabbat ki dukaan for rioters?
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Let's say good evening to a panel of guests. Shazia Ilmi is a national spokesperson of the BJP joining us. Karan Verma is a noted author on the show. Ratan Shardaji is also a noted author. Sanjay Jha, also an author. He did remember, was close to the Congress, so I will say he leans towards the Congress still. He hasn't had a change of heart. We also have Mohammad Adil Hassan, who represents the AIMIM on the show, and Said Aslam Pasha, political analyst. He's completing our panel. Sanjay, let's begin by asking you, do you believe this is kosher? Do you believe this is Rahul Gandhi's Mohabbat ki dukaan? Writers can be given a free pass?
Deepti, good evening. I heard Mr. DK Shivkumar, the Deputy Chief Minister, and I think he's been very categorical in saying that they have withdrawn cases against many, I would say, people who indulged in violence or all kinds of anti-social activities, which includes, by the way, the violence in Hubballi that happened. And amongst them was this case. Now, in terms of the gravitas or definitely the implications of the withdrawal, I agree with you that these are issues that need to be debated. Having said that, I find it very rich that the BJP, which frankly speaking was castigated by the Supreme Court for running bulldozers against communities, the encounter Raj that has flourished in many BJP states, the lynching violence that has happened, and the number of BJP leaders who have made hate speeches and got away scot-free. This is an unfortunate reality of our times. I'm not trying to do whataboutery, Deepti. I'm largely trying to tell you, though, the ecosystem has a lot to explain, not just to the people of India, but to itself. And as far as the Karnataka thing is concerned, I do believe the Congress government is aware of the implications of its announcements. I'm sure they have made investigations to find out how serious the cases are against how many people. Will the individuals, accused in the FIRs, they be taken to its logical conclusion? That may be a separate subject. The government may have closed the case saying that no further possibly prosecution or investigation is required. It doesn't mean that people are probably charged will get away scot-free. So I think these are grey areas as far as the legal aspects are concerned. But I do feel the BJP needs to also explain to the people of India about the number of issues where they have indulged in wanton violence, encouraged it by them. You have had cases recently as well where a very popular seer has been making a lot of horrific speeches.
Sanjay, I hate to interrupt, but see, right now the issue is of extreme appeasement. Extreme appeasement of any community, I do not think is desirable in the country anymore. And this is clearly not a BJP versus a Congress issue, Sanjay, is it? Because the Congress for the longest time, and I'll also get Shazia to respond to that question that you have raised. The Congress says we have a Mohabbat ki dukaan. So is that the dukaan open for rioters? And who's the state to decide someone is guilty or not, Sanjay? There is a trial underway in this case.
Well, here is the point. Here is the point. I don't think if the government withdraws a case in terms of the issues that were filed earlier at the police station, the FIRs, they don't overnight vanish. I think there is a legal process that plays out there as well. So I'm sure
Sanjay, it shows your intent, no? Whatever you say and do, the point is it's your intent. It's the government's intent. Shazia, how would you respond to what we've heard from the Congress so far? They say that the BJP, during the Feb of 2020 and 23, have dropped prosecution in about 385 cases. This includes cases of hate speech, cow vigilante, communal violence, and all those people have been let off. A lot of them are about pro-Hindu groups and also BJP MLAs. So Shazia, can appeasement swing just one side?
So what has DK Shivkumar done about it? What has Siddaramaiah done about it, if indeed this has happened? What is it going to be? Because that has happened and we don't know the details of that. It's just a statement that we get. But here is something that we know. What we know here is that Congress party has no respect for rule of law. It encourages and abets rioters, and rioters who have attacked and laid siege to a police station, if you may. I mean, it's not even anything else. And only because they are Muslims. Now, rule of law means respecting the constitution. So what has happened to respect for the constitution and rule of law? And what what India stands for in terms of prosecution, investigation, and taking back cases. And when you take back a case, the case will vanish, Mr. Sanjay Jha. What will happen to the case? The very fact that you're withdrawing the case, which is state versus the rioters, then the case will vanish. So, and why do you want to stand with the rioters? Only because they're Muslims? I mean, there's a huge problem here, right? I understand you want to stand with an innocent man, and Supreme Court came to chide the government in charge, said, no, you can't play havoc with people's lives and you can't bulldoze your way into justice. Similarly, this is exactly what the courts are for. This is, if there was no investigation, if the matter did not go to courts, what is the Karnataka state government doing? Who is the Karnataka state government to withdraw the cases? But to appease, and appease what? Who do you want to appease? You want to appease criminals and rioters? I mean, you don't want to do anything normal for deserving poor Muslims, giving them houses or education. But you want to play, I mean, play to the lowest common denomination and encourage this kind of violence by taking back the cases. I think it's very disgusting. And more than that, I think it really gives a very wrong signal. You know, and what are you trying to say? That only because somebody is a Muslim or a Hindu, and that's how you will base your judgment, and the rule of law will change accordingly? Some little respect for the constitution, would have helped in this matter.
Okay, I think Rahul Gandhi, Syed Aslam Pasha, and also Muhammad Adil Hassan who want to come in. But Shazia, you've also skirted my question. I said almost the similar modus operandi was adopted by the BJP in 2 years, Feb 2020 to 23, when you have 385 cases and their prosecution getting dropped. But let me get in Muhammad Adil Hassan first. He represents the AIMIM. अब हसल सार ये बताइए कि ये रिश्ता क्या कहलाता है? अब आपके एक लीडर है मोहम्मद आरिफ, उनको एक क्लीन चिट, एक फ्री पास दे देती है कर्नाटक की सरकार, तो कौन किसकी भी टीम है? कैसे हुआ है सर ऐसा सब?
मैडम, मोहतरमा जो बीजेपी से हैं शाजिया इल्मी बड़ी अच्छी बात कह रही थी। मेरे उनके लिए एक शेर है, गुफ्तार के गाजी बन गए, किरदार के गाजी बन न सके। बैरिस्टर असदुद्दीन ओवैसी साहब पे गोली चली, यूपी सरकार ने बेल को अपोज नहीं किया, जिसने गोली चलाई थी उसको बेल मिल जाता है, यूपी सरकार चुप रहती है। योगी आदित्यनाथ अपना केस विड्रॉ करते हैं, केशव प्रसाद मौर्य का करते हैं। प्रधानमंत्री जी जिस दिन 15 अगस्त में लंबी लंबी भाषण दे रहे थे बेटी बचाओ पर, उस दिन बिल्किस बानो के रेपिस्ट को छोड़ दिया जाता है। मक्का मस्जिद ब्लास्ट और अजमेर ब्लास्ट और मालेगांव ब्लास्ट एनआईए ने चैलेंज नहीं किया मैडम।
लेकिन हुबली में जो हुआ सर 2022 में, उससे शुरुआत करिए, पहले उससे शुरुआत करिए।
लेट मी स्पीक
I will let you speak, but please speak on your own person, sir.
उस पे भी मैं बोलूंगा मैडम, सुन लीजिए।
His name is मोहम्मद आरिफ, जस्ट इन केस आपको याद नहीं है, उनका नाम है मोहम्मद आरिफ।
नहीं याद है मैडम,
तो उनके
मुसलमान का नाम है तो मुसलमान का नाम आएगा तो टीवी चैनल तो सुबह से 9 to 9 चलाएगा ही ना।
ये बात करिए सर, ये हिंदू मुसलमान आप लोग करते हैं, ये नेता लोग करते हैं सर,
मैडम
ये नेता लोग करते हैं।
लेट मी स्पीक नाउ लेट मी स्पीक।
बोलिए।
हार्दिक पटेल पर जो केस विड्रॉ गुजरात सरकार किया, बीजेपी का एमएलए, माफी है क्या? और ये जो है 20 सोमन्ना बीजेपी का यूनियन मिनिस्टर, सुधाकर एमएलए, सीटी रवि एमएलसी, सुकुमार शेट्टी, संजय पाटिल, रेणुकाचार्य, बीके बोपा, अनिल बेनाके, मंगला सोमकर, ये सब बीजेपी के जो सूरवीर हैं एमएलए,
क्या फर्क है ना? आप देखिए यही दिक्कत है, कांग्रेस से सवाल पूछे वो भाजपा का नाम लेगी, भाजपा से नाम पूछे वो कांग्रेस का नाम लेगी। आप तमाम लिस्ट लेकर बैठे, आप अपने व्यक्ति की तो बात करिए, अपने लीडर की भी बात करिए ना सर।
सुन लीजिए मैडम, थोड़ा सुन लीजिए। हमारा कहना है कि जो अगर ये विड्रॉ हुआ, एक आरिफ नहीं है, उसके साथ 138 लोग हैं और यूनियन मिनिस्टर से ज्यादा वो पावरफुल नहीं है। बीजेपी के पास हजारों लिस्ट है, जो सुबह शाम जब एक चीफ मिनिस्टर अपना केस विड्रॉ करता है तो उस पर जरा डिबेट चला दीजिए तो अच्छा लगेगा। भारत का हंगर इंडेक्स में मैडम हार्दिक पटेल पर चला लीजिएगा तो अच्छा लगेगा। मुसलमान नाम से इतनी मोहब्बत अच्छी बात है, तो मालेगांव ब्लास्ट का एक्यूज एनआईए ने
पर आरोप लगा रहे हैं, आप जवाब नहीं दे पा रहे हैं मुझे।
अजमेर ब्लास्ट पे कर लीजिए, एनआईए ने क्यों नहीं किया? मक्का मस्जिद ब्लास्ट पर एनआईए ने क्यों नहीं चैलेंज किया? बेल को क्यों नहीं अपोज किया?
इसका क्या मतलब है? इसका क्या मतलब है? क्या हुबली में जो हुआ सर 2022 में हुआ ही नहीं? किसी ने भी पुलिस स्टेशन पर पत्थर नहीं फेंके
मैडम,
कोई आर्सन
मक्का
नहीं
मस्जिद
हुआ।
ब्लास्ट मैडम सुन लीजिए, एक रेपिस्ट को सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने क्या कहा? बिल्किस बानो के रेपिस्ट में सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऑर्डर को आपने खिलवाड़ बना लिया, उस पर कुछ बोल देंगे, डिबेट चलाइएगा उस पर।
क्यों नहीं चलाते हैं? आप टेलीविजन देखा करिए सर,
चलाइएगा,
टेलीविजन देखा करिए, टाइम्स नाउ देखा करिए, टाइम्स नाउ पर
हार्दिक पटेल पे चलाइएगा,
मुद्दों पर डिबेट होती है।
हार्दिक पटेल पर आई चैलेंज टाइम्स नाउ।
यू डोंट नीड टू चैलेंज अस सर, प्लीज। आई डोंट थिंक यू आर इन एनी पोजीशन टू चैलेंज अस. I'm asking you a simple question. Can you tell me about the role of the AIMIM leader without naming anyone else? First, speak about his own culpability, sir.
Allow me, Deepti, allow me to speak.
You've been speaking, sir. आप जवाब दीजिए ना.
138 आदमी थे, सिर्फ आरिफ नहीं थे. अगर टाइम्स नाउ को मैं चैलेंज कर रहा हूं, हार्दिक पटेल पर भी ये चला है जो केस विड्रॉ हुआ है, जो आंदोलन उसने पटरी उखाड़ी, उस पर एनएसए लगा था और गुजरात सरकार ने केस वापस किया क्योंकि बीजेपी के सामने उसने माथा टेक दिया। योगी आदित्यनाथ पे भी चला ये केस विड्रॉ।
ये आपका आरोप है सर, ये आपका आरोप है। मैं वही तो पूछ रही हूँ कि ऐसा क्या हुआ कि ये जो पूरा केस था जिसमें एलिगेशन ये था कि मोहम्मद आरिफ ने ये पूरा मॉब लीड किया है, वो कैसे वापस हो गया? ये बताइए।
तो होगा ही, उसका नाम आरिफ है तो टारगेट होगा ही ना। उसका नाम योगी आदित्यनाथ नहीं है, हार्दिक पटेल नहीं है। राम रहीम को जो बेलर,
क्या अब आप देखिए क्या बोल रहे हैं सर, क्या बोल रहे हैं? अब ये यही होती है राजनीति, यही राजनीति होती है। सैयद असलम पाशा, will you join the AIMIM in playing this politics, or will you help see him some bit of sense?
Well, Deepti, I would want to give a very frank and candid opinion about this entire episode which has happened today. Well, Shazia Ilmi ji is looking about this entire, withdrawal of cases through the prism of communal agenda. I would not say that. Well, the fact of the matter is about 60 cases have been withdrawn. Of course, the Hubballi Riots cases have been withdrawn. The second important thing is Renuka Charya, who's the MLA of BJP, who made a provocative statement in the year 2020, that also has been withdrawn. There are former protesters. There were cases against the farmers, the protesters. There were cases against the farmers, protesters. Their cases have been withdrawn. There was a case in Davangere district wherein 2 boys had pulled the hijab of a Muslim girl. That case has been withdrawn. Totally 60 cases have been withdrawn.
Why?
Now,
Syed, why has this happened?
So there is definitely a merit in it. Hence, the cases have been withdrawn. Now, let me give you another point. Now, the Reuters cases which have been withdrawn in Hubballi, there is a litigation, there's a petition which is filed by the a relief committee, which includes the Anjuman-e-Islam and TB Chalawadi, who heads the organization of Dalits. There's a petition filed in the court. Hence, the government has withdrawn these cases. Now, why are
Syed, what you and even Mohammed Adil Hassan are not telling viewers, and I think Sanjay Jha will also benefit with this information. I have a copy of this cabinet note that has been accessed by us, Ratan Shadaji and Karan. Now, this says, under a quote, interministerial consultations, it says the police department, Department of Prosecution, government litigations and the law department were consulted, their opinions obtained. Then it says they are of the opinion that these cases are not fit for withdrawal. Not fit for withdrawal. So, Karan, is it wrong to ask this question that what is going on in, the Congress government in the state of Karnataka?
So, Deepti, 4 policemen were injured while this happened. I mean, this was a brazen act of violence against the police. And imagine the morale of the law enforcement of a state where their advice falls on deaf ears. They are themselves targeted and these thugs and criminals are allowed to go just because they happen to be of a certain identity. This is Muslim appeasement of the worst order, and this is not the first case, Deepti. Let's understand this. Today in Karnataka, PFI is banned. SDPI, its political wing, has their first governance wing. Their governance wing is the Congress party. The Congress has fulfilled every single of SDPI's promises, and I can name you. 10,000 crores fund would be given to the minorities. CM Siddaramaiah announced in Hubballi itself. He withdrew the hijab ban right away. He rescinded the hijab order, which was the PFI's demand. He again said that the symbols of Gada that were there on the lamppost have to be withdrawn because they remind of the Hindu culture. They, in the name of secularism, they removed that. They included Muslims, blanket Muslim inclusion in the OBC category liable for reservation. They removed the anti-conversion law as soon as they came to power. In fact, what was most ridiculous was one of Congress corporator's own daughter was a victim of love jihad, and the father admitted that she was a victim of love jihad, and Siddaramaiah and Mallikarjun Kharge chose to look the other way. So this is the kind of appeasement we've seen. Urdu becoming mandatory for Anganwadi teachers. I mean, what else do we need? So we are seeing this unfold in the worst order, where criminals are now given a complete free leash to wreak havoc, and this is the reward you get. And AIMIM and Congress, they've been old buddies. They've been old partners. Till 2012, they were partners. Even just very recently on the Waqf issue, Revant Reddy warmed up to Asaduddin Owaisi. So
are you saying this is a fixed match, Karan? This is a fixed match between the two parties?
One of Congress's spokespersons, I think Shama Mohammed, has clearly said that there is one community that votes for us in mass, and that is the Muslim community. So they are very clear now. They want to appease this community in every sense. They don't want to let go of this vote bank. So whether it's appeasing Owaisi, whether it's appeasing
before I get in Adil, Sanjay, these are serious charges. These are very, very serious charges from a party that says hum Samvidhan ki ladai lad rahe. Samvidhan will give equal rights to everyone, right? In Karnataka, you cannot have one law for perhaps these rioters and one law for everyone else. Sanjay? Yeah. These are serious questions Deepti, now.
No, Deepti, I'm glad you have touched upon constitutional sanctity and the sacrosanct nature of laws in India, which should apply to everybody equally. I'm going to give you 2 examples from the state that I live in, Maharashtra, where Ajit Pawar, who was accused of a 70,000 crore irrigation scam, The moment he joined the BJP as a support to the government, the scam just vanished into thin air. And that was the common man's taxpayers' money which was looted.
Sanjay, is that the answer to appeasement for rioters?
No, I'm coming to the point, because let me tell you, we are talking about communal violence. We are talking about attack against state personnel like the police, or a destruction or vandalism. But the law, when you talk of law, it applies to every aspect of governance, including corruption. And I think, as Mr. Hassan correctly pointed out, the classic cases of the most popular chief minister of the BJP, who withdrew cases against him. And the government and the cabinet passed it. And the prime minister and everybody was very...
Though the BJP denies that. The BJP denies that, but because this is something that gets, you know, propped up again and again. I will let Shazia speak about this. Shazia, is this true? Is this charge true, Shazia?
No. First of all, Deepti, I'd like to say that I can also talk about the National Herald case. I can talk about the great details of what happened, how Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi worked on getting huge amounts of land, and how what happened to the Young India Limited. You know, I can go into details of why Chidambaram was in jail and how all of them are out on bail. I can go into great and, you know, details of all of those. But I will not. I will come back to the case. And I just want to tell that, you know, just deflecting from an embarrassing topic does not help. It is a matter of great shame, especially from a party which talks about constitution. And this is not meant to be anti-Muslim and pro-Hindu in any way, as is being insinuated by others. It is about rule of law. It is about governance. It is how seriously you take the constitution and law of the country. It is also about telling citizens, whoever they are, Hindus and Muslims, that if something wrong is done by any of you, law will remain the same and the government will act according to law. And that is what I'm talking about. There are so many innocent Muslims out there which this party will never speak for. But these are the rioters. And you know what the charges are? Not one charge, the 8 charges which have been dropped. And the charges against them include attempted murder, inciting violence and rioting.
Yes.
And just as Karan just mentioned, policemen were hurt. And there was a fake video, there was something that provoked them. It was a cartoon about a tiranga or a saffron flag atop a mosque.
I'm not talking of that anymore, you know, Shazia. I'm not talking of that anymore. I'm just talking of how a state possibly wants to deal with such cases. Adil, allow me some time. Ratanji hasn't spoken. I want to get him into this case. Ratanji, you know, when you look at how you have the state of Karnataka over the last perhaps many months dealt with the issue of Muslim appeasement, you believe this is a charge valid that the BJP now is levelling on them, that this is a party now only for Muslims?
Well, that's only for Muslims, no doubt. I'm worried about the law and order.
Ratanji, I don't have a very good audio with you. I apologize to our viewers. We'll just make that better so we can hear you. पर आदिल, अब आप बताइए, देखिए इतने सारे सवाल आप पर उठ रहे हैं. आप राइट को लेकर अगर बात करेंगे, मुझे बताइए हुबली में जो हुआ, जो पुलिसमैन घायल हुए थे, उनकी क्या गलती थी, मुझे ये बताइए. आज उनके लिए तो कोई नहीं बोल रहा ना. आप लोग सब अपने नेताओं को डिफेंड कर रहे हैं.
मैम, बहुत आप सही कह रही है. बीजेपी का एमएलए करे तो चमत्कार, हम करे तो पूरा.
अरे ये भाजपा वर्सेस AIMIM या भाजपा वर्सेस कांग्रेस नहीं है सर. ये आपसे लेकर सवाल है. आप अपने पर बात करिए.
जस्ट लिसन टू मी, अलाउ मी टू स्पीक. Yogi Adityanath government withdraw more than 20,000 cases on himself and Union Minister of BJP. You have guts to talk on this. I challenge Times now to talk on this.
Does this, Adil, does this justify what the Karnataka government has done? ये बताइए.
Listen, please allow me to speak.
Two wrongs will not make a right, right?
Madam, just listen to me. Don't dictate your terms on me.
Please watch your language, sir. No one is dictating anything.
I'm watching. You
I
don't
asked you a
dictate
very
your terms
simple
on me.
question. I will only be persistent.
I will answer
because
in my Zuban.
Today,
don't
sir,
dictate your terms on me.
Today everyone wants to know that what happened in Hubballi. Remember all these images that we are playing out, जहाँ पर एक पुलिस स्टेशन पर अटैक होता है, व्हीकल्स को आग के हवाले किया जाता है, आगजनी होती है, पुलिसमैन उसमें घायल होते हैं, गंभीर रूप से घायल होते हैं, पूरा केस बनता है, मामला चलता है, ये अभी ट्रायल में है, किसी कोर्ट ने कहीं पर क्लीन चिट नहीं दी है. तो ऐसे में अगर एक स्टेट alleged rioters को clean chit दे दे तो सवाल नहीं पूछेंगे क्या सर?
मैम सवाल पूछिए, लेकिन ईमानदारी से पूछिए। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अलाउ किया है सरकार को केस विड्रॉ करने के लिए। देश का सर्वोच्च न्यायालय है, वो अमित शाह जी की तरह नहीं, बिल्किस बानो के रेपिस्ट को छोड़ दिया गया। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने लताड़ लगाई थी।
अपना पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट कहता है कि नहीं
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अलाउ किया केस विड्रॉ करने के लिए। मैडम सुप्रीम कोर्ट के बाद प्रोविजन है, स्टेट कैबिनेट को प्रोविजन है। अगर योगी आदित्यनाथ कर सकते हैं, अमित शाह रेपिस्ट को छोड़ सकते हैं, तो कर्नाटका सरकार भी उनको छोड़ सकती है। ये राइट है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट है।
कमाल का डिफेंस है, ये राइट है,
ये सच्चाई है
सर, राइटर्स का राइट है,
सच्चाई है।
लेकिन आम आदमी का कोई राइट नहीं है इस कंट्री में। आम आदमी का
सच्चाई है, कैबिनेट को
कोई राइट नहीं
प्रोविजन है।
रतन जी
कैबिनेट को परमिशन है।
रतन जी, आई होप वी कैन
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कांग्रेस को ताकत दिया है।
अच्छा, आप सुनिए प्लीज, लेट मी लिसन टू रतन शारदा जी।
Audible now?
Yes,
I hope I'm
loud and
audible
clear,
now.
sir.
Yeah. See, point one is that whataboutery is never the answer. The panelists continues right from sophisticated Sanjay Jha to boorish behavior of AIMIM. All of them are talking in terms of whatabout. Point is, what is the condition of Karnataka? I will also make a point before I go further. In Maharashtra, same AIMIM has gone to MBA asking to be brought into the alliance so they can defeat BJP. And Congress is opposing it, very rightly. Same Congress is releasing those MIM goons who created rioter situation, who created violence, beat up the police. Now, what is the condition of Karnataka? 2020, Congress MLA was attacked, his house was torched because his relative put in a Facebook post which hurt certain elements. So are there different elements, different laws for people who are hurt by religion and those others who are hurt by in their own religion? That is the point. So 2020 Congress MLA case, 2015 Vishwanath Shetty was killed by PFI accused. Then 2017 Sharat Madiwala, 2018 Deepakra, all these are BJP RSS workers. 2022 Praveen Netaru, and you have these kind of continuous, not just continuous riots. You have Salman Rushdie going to the court to give a bail to Coimbatore blast case. They also stood by the Coimbatore blast case main accused, first favoring his bail, then favoring his release, and it was court to wrap them on the knuckle. Is this the kind of communal harmony you're talking about? The stoning of the Ganesh Jayanti, was there a reason for that Ganesh Chaturthi? There was no reason. So these people supposedly talking of Kanun, of Vyavastha, talking of constitution, when it comes to certain elements, they look at different constitutional loopholes. And I think this is plainly untrue, that a person saying that Supreme Court has allowed the release of these people. If you remember, UP also, same Indian as people tried to release hundreds of terrorists in UP. It was High Court which stopped them.
Yes.
So I am very sure this clause also you go to court and see that there is difference between political cases and riot cases and communal riot cases. Unfortunately, people here are very easily mixing up the political cases which happen during agitation and trying to protect those who are actually perpetrating violence. So
I think, Ratan ji, you're making a lot of good points. And absolutely. And Sanjay, that's exactly the thing, that ultimately the courts will have to step in. If the governments fail in their duties and the governments tell us that you can have a mohabbat ki dukaan for rioters and no mohabbat for people who've been, guarding us, for policemen who've been injured and for common people, there will be questions raised. Adil, क्या कहना चाहते हैं आप सवाल का जवाब देते नहीं हैं?
मैम सवाल का जवाब दे रहे हैं। रतन साहब इतना अच्छी बात कह रहे हैं। अजहर मसूद को कंधार में सबसे बड़ा आतंकवादी को छोड़ने वाला बीजेपी है।
अरे आप कहां
बीजेपी का राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष बीजेपी की रक्षा दलाली किया है, पूरी दुनिया ने देखा है।
देखिए अंग्रेजी में एक वर्ड है व्हाट अबाउट
मैडम,
अगर समझ ना आए ना तो जलेबी की तरह, सर जलेबी का क्या हाल हुआ था सब जानते हैं। जलेबी की तरह गोल बातें घुमा रहे हैं आप। सैयद, यू वांट टू हेल्प हिम?
बोला था रतन जी ने।
सैयद,
So see, Deepti, I don't want to do whataboutery here. Ratan Sharda ji conveniently is not speaking about Renukacharya. His cases have been withdrawn. Why are you not speaking about that, sir? The farmer protesters, their cases have been withdrawn. Why are you being selective? Why are you selective? I mean,
Sayyad, the same holds true for you right now, no? You are also being selective. My problem is that as citizens, when we look at these stories, we see netas making some very, very tall claims, Sanjay, of a Mohabbat ki dukaan. How fair is that? Is Rahul Gandhi today, Syed and Sanjay, is Rahul Gandhi aware of what the government in Karnataka is doing, Sanjay?
Well, Deepti, let me tell you, you have every right, and I'm glad we are doing a program on what the Karnataka government has done. Absolutely. All governments must be questioned. And I want to point out to you that what astonishes me is the hypocrisy and the double standards of the BJP. This is not what about real. I'll give you only one example. A lynching accused released on bail was garlanded by a BJP MP. That is the kind of hypocrisy that we need to stand up against. Mr. Sharda, my friend Karan will never mention it because they are right-leaning people and they will have to defend majority appeasement. That is the reality. I'm very glad you're doing this program. I'm glad you're questioning the Karnataka government, but we must be dispassionate and question the entire political ecosystem.
We do that, Sanjay. And both you and I know it is Rahul Gandhi who's been speaking of the Mohabbat ki dukaan. So you need to walk the talk, right? Extremism, I think extreme appeasement of the Muslim community or any other community is not desirable. Only for want of time, Shazia and all gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We'll track what happens, whether that story, will have ramifications in the court. Most likely, yes, and we'll continue to track that. Let's also shift our gears.